I see how it is.
I see.
You'll react to Game of Thrones with Mr. Greg. That's fine.
He
Don't include
is...
me again. Don't include me for 2 years. And then finally include me for like a little bit.
You live in Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
Howdy doody, Reject Nation. It's John Humphrey here, and with me is...
Game of Thrones!
Your Game of Thrones personified. Welcome to the channel. I'm a big fan.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm the Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah.
How do I win?
You have to be nude, and you have to have dragons.
That sounds like Game of Thrones to me.
Yeah.
We are going to check out a new video from AllTime10s. Good folks over there. Subscribe to AllTime10s. This is 10... Rachel! Hey man, I let you commit to that, and now you're Game of Thrones forever. Get ready.
Fine.
That's a responsibility. People are going to be debating you for the end of time. Rachel Jackson, she's got a comic, a web comic called Angry Max Fury Street.
I have never seen Mad Max Fury Road, so I made a comic about what I think Mad Max Fury Road is about, and it's about somebody named Angry Max, and he's so angry, and his friend Happy Henry takes him on a road trip.
That's the answer I was looking for. This is called 10 Game of Thrones theories that will blow your mind, and if my mind's not blown by the end of this, I would like my money back. This is gonna be fun.
HBO's Game of Thrones is one of
it's
the
a
most
guy
unpredictable
talking.
and complicated series out there. As a result, its fans are partial to an outlandish theory or two. From
Or
the
10.
idea that the whole show is a
Yeah,
global
seriously.
warming metaphor, to an even weirder thought that Varys could be a mermaid. With the show drawing to its highly anticipated climax fairly soon, we thought we'd give you a rundown of some of the best fan theories for how it will eventually end. But beware, for the night is dark and full of spoilers.
That's fine, we saw it.
Yeah, I've seen this.
This is
Spoiler
10
alert.
Game of Thrones theories that will blow your mind. Number 10, the Faceless Men theory. Some Game of Thrones theories you'd love to see come true, and others you really wouldn't. One theory that falls into the please God no category is one surrounding popular fan favourite Arya Stark. Namely, it's the Arya is dead theory. This theory states that in the Season 6 Episode 8 showdown of Jaqen's prodigies, it was actually the Waif, not Arya, who emerged victorious. Think about it. You don't specifically see the Waif die, which has been Game of Thrones code for that character's not really dead in the past. The odds were definitely against the younger Stark girl in that fight. She had been stabbed multiple times in the stomach and had never bested the Waif before. Then there was Jaqen's reaction. Why would he give that creepy little smile unless he knew there was something else going on? So secretly wearing Arya's face, the Waif is now travelling up north. Who knows what her endgame is, but I'm gonna guess it's not good news for the Starks. King Robert and the Lannisters considered using Faceless Men assassins to kill Daenerys way back when, meaning it's not out of the question that the Waif could be working for them now, hired to kill Cersei's enemies in the north. Number 9. Samwell is the narrator. This theory is one that's been gaining a lot of popularity online lately. It's even been discussed by John Bradley, the actor who plays the character in question. The idea is that the entirety of the show is based on a chronicle of events written by everyone's favourite maester in training, Samwell Tarly. Season 7 sees Sam in his nerdy element at the Citadel, surrounded by books and studying under Professor Slughorn and meet Archmaester Ebrose. Ebrose is writing a history titled The Chronicles of the Wars Following the Death of King Robert I. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's basically just a fancy way of saying the plot of Game of Thrones. Sam comments on the title, saying that he would have gone for something a bit more poetic. What could he be thinking? A Song of Ice and Fire, perhaps? Fans of this theory have predicted that the final scene of the fantasy medieval will be Sam closing the big book of the series. Whilst this prediction doesn't really tell us anything about who will end up on the Iron Throne, it would mean that at least Sam survives to the end. Number 8. Who is Azor Ahai? This theory surrounds a prophecy that a legendary leader who once saved the world from darkness, Azor Ahai, will be born again. They'll be born amid smoke and salt, and shall draw light from the fire a burning sword Lightbringer. Fairly obviously, the two most popular candidates for the role are Jon and Daenerys, largely because of Jon's kick-ass swordsmanship and Daenerys being born at the height of the storm. There are 1001 blogs explaining why either of these two could be Azor, so instead, we're going to focus on another candidate who'd be a lot more of a curveball, the Hound. This theory comes from two defining moments in Sandor Clegane's life. The fire that burned him as a child, aka smoke, and the Battle of Blackwater that almost killed him, aka salt. Plus, it'd be a hell of a plot twist to see the Hound, who's normally thwarted by his fear of fire, saving the day with a flaming sword. You can't say that wouldn't be an amazing ending.
That would be cool.
Number 7. The Mad Queen. We all know about Mad King Aerys Targaryen, but could we be about to see the Mad Queen? For a while there, it was thought that Daenerys was going to fill that role, what with her being the Mad King's daughter and her literally burning her enemies with dragonfire. But now, there's a new Queen Psycho bidding for the title, Cersei. The Lannister matriarch has blown up large parts of King's Landing and executed one of the most sadistic deaths of the whole series, which for Game of Thrones is really saying something. If we assume this theory is right and Cersei is the Mad Queen, what does this mean for the end of Thrones? Well, the Mad King got killed by the Kingslayer, so for symmetry's sake, could the same fate await the Mad Queen?
Camera cut.
The idea that Jaime kills Cersei is one that's been knocking around for a while. It's based on the prediction of Maggie the Frog who, in the books, told the young queen that she'll be killed by the Valonqar, which translates as little brother. This could refer to Tyrion, seeing as the dislike between he and Cersei
like
is
in the
far
first
from
episode
secret,
of season
or
4.
plot twist,
Okay.
In a
Jaime.
flashback.
Number 6. The Walkers cross the wall. The 200-metre tall wall that stretches along the northern border of the Seven Kingdoms was allegedly constructed about 8,000 years before the events of Thrones. The Children of the Forest added an enchantment to prevent the White Walkers crossing it. But could everyone's favourite plot device have already broken that spell, basically dooming all of Westeros? Yes, of course, we're talking about Brandon Stark. In Season 6, Episode 5, when Bran was doing a spot of unsupervised three-eyed ravening, he was touched and marked by the Night's King. This mark allowed the White Walkers to break through the children's magical defences and attack them, Bran and co, leading to the heartbreaking Hold the Door scene. Now that Bran's back in Winterfell, does this mean he's just gifted the Walkers free pass over the wall? This leads into another, more dire end of Thrones theory. The White Walkers win, and everyone else dies. Valar Morghulis after all. There are hundreds of thousands of White Walkers, and they're super hard to destroy. With George R.R. Martin's previous notoriety for killing off fan favourites, it wouldn't be totally unfitting for him to just kill off all of the remaining living characters. Number 5. Bran the Builder. While we're on the topic of Bran, there are a lot of theories floating around about the role he has to play in shaping the entire plot of the show. Even before he started walking away, little Bran was the first domino to set key events in motion. If he hadn't spied on the Lannister twincest, Jaime wouldn't have pushed him out of the tower, and a lot of what happened in Season 1 might not have done. But now we know he has his eye-rolling, animal-controlling, timey-wimey superpower. That makes the potential for Bran's influence even greater. It's been confirmed that Bran can not only witness, but can influence moments in the past. Hence the whole Hodor thing. This has led to the circulation of the Bran the Builder theory. Bran the Builder, who our Bran is named after, was the one who built Winterfell and the Wall in the first place. The idea is that modern-day Bran, having seen the devastation that the Walkers will bring, travels back in time to become his namesake, building the wall to defend against
the future. But then Bran's named after no one.
Not only this, but some speculate that Bran was the voice of the Mad King's ear that turned him insane. There would be less purpose behind this
Why would Bran?
Unless it was another accident.
Is there a reason for Bran to become Bran?
Number 4. The Walkers are the good guys. It'd be an absolutely huge plot twist if it turned out that we should have been rooting for the Walkers all along. But that's one theory that's actually getting quite a lot of momentum online.
Of course,
a bit
people
like the story of
online
Noah's
like
Ark
this,
in the
'cause
Bible,
everybody online
the
is
idea here is that
fucking
mankind has become corrupt and evil, and the Walkers are intended to cleanse the nation. In order to justify this, the show has spent over 6 years showing most of its characters scheming, lying, murdering, raping, and just generally being dicks. Another take on this, the Walkers are good theory, is that it was actually them who built the wall in the first place. Think about it. The wall was allegedly built as part of the original Azor Ahai's battle to drive the Walkers away. But are we really to believe that it was built quick enough to halt a devastating advancing army? Even with the children's magic, surely such a feat would have taken hundreds of years. So this leads some to believe that the Walkers were in on it the whole time, and had reached an agreement in order to end the war from dawn. Now mankind has turned into such murderous animals, the Walkers have decided it's time for that agreement to be broken. Number 3. Three-headed dragon. This theory is one of the most popular Game of Thrones theories out there, and it stems from a prophecy given to Daenerys in the books.
Is there a joke?
The dragon has 3 heads. This has been understood pretty much universally to mean that 3 dragon riders are required in order to win the Great War. Seeing as Daenerys has 3 dragons, it's pretty much a given that she'll be one of those riders. The question now is who will be joining her. Ever since the infamous R+L=J theory was confirmed in Season 6, the probability that the second dragon rider will be Jon Snow has grown. But Jon might not be the only character with a secret Targaryen heritage, as a strong candidate for the third rider is none other than Tyrion Lannister. Some fans speculate that Mad King Aerys had an affair with Tywin Lannister's wife Joanna, and Tyrion was the result of this affair. They point to Tywin's disdain towards Tyrion as further evidence towards this. Oh, and the fact that Tywin said, "You're no son of mine with this dying breath." Maybe that was more literal than it first appeared. Number 2. The Greyscale Walker Theory. Can't deny there's something connecting Greyscale and the White Walkers. Let's start with some pretty basic links. They certainly have similar aesthetics, and they're both pretty much zombies unable to feel. Then there's the fact that those infected with Greyscale, aka the Stone Men, are said to live in the ruins of the Valyrian Peninsula, the very home of Valyrian steel, one of the few known substances that can kill a walker. Now, what this means isn't super obvious, but in Game of Thrones, accidental coincidences are a rarity. Dragonglass, another way to kill the dead, has also been hinted as a possible cure for grayscale. And thanks to one of the grossest scenes in Thrones history, we know that the condition can be cured even in its advanced stages. With similar traits and weaknesses, is it possible that grayscale is just another manifestation of the magic behind the walkers? Could the Stone Men just be walkers created from the living rather than the dead? After all, we don't know where the infection came from in the first place, only that it passes through physical contact. So maybe the Night King's dead army isn't the only zombie horde that should be worrying the people of Westeros. He might also be able to control the Stone Men. Number 1. Jon and the Night King. A badass warrior based in the north who once died and has since been reanimated. Am I talking about Jon Snow, the Night King, or both? Well, according to this theory, the grand finale will see the former become the latter. When discussing the eventual conclusion of his story, George R.R. Martin described the finale as bittersweet. This implies that the good guys do ultimately triumph, but at a cost. This revelation, of course, sent fans into a frenzy, hypothesizing what the cost could be. One obvious candidate would be the Winterfell bastard and professional nothing knower, Jon Snow. A popular prediction is that Jon will sacrifice himself in order to kill the Night King and stop the attack on the living. But true to character, our hero won't die completely. Instead, he'll become a semi-White Walker like Benjen Stark and rule the Walkers as the new Night King. So long as he isn't fully converted to Walker, he would then be able to use his leadership to turn the advance of the Walkers around, protecting the citizens of Westeros. How's that for bittersweet? So that was 10 Game of Thrones theories that will blow your mind.
Sad.
How do you think the show will end?
I don't know if my mind's blown.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some interesting theories in
for
there.
sure. All right, so you know 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I feel like
Favorite
there
game.
is 2 degrees of every Game of Thrones character ever. So the number of potential theories out there are endless.
Yeah, I believe
And
that
I feel
for
like
sure.
some theories will come true, but people are like, oh, look at this coincidence that George R.R. Martin put in. And it's just like every coincidence, like there's, that you could say that about everything. All of the characters are somehow intertwined, and not all of them will come true.
Not by a long shot, I would imagine.
So I feel like a lot of that falls into this category. Arya's dead, what do you think?
I don't love that theory, but I could see it being plausible. If they wanted to pull that off, sure. If the waif is wearing Arya's face, I wouldn't be thrilled to have that come true, because I like Arya.
This is my I think it won't come true face. I don't think it'll come true. Because George R.R. Martin promised his wife that he would not kill off Arya, because Arya is George R.R. Martin's wife's favorite character. However, the creators of the TV show are not married to George R.R. Martin's wife.
True that. Unless they open up like a polyamorous relationship or something like that.
Yeah,
you never know.
Unless they're the Dornish.
Could,
Anyways.
Yeah. The Sam being the narrator thing, I mean, I
can totally see that happening.
100%. I feel like
that's 100% happening because George R.R. Martin is Sam.
Yeah, basically. And
Next
I mean,
one.
there are not many things that are just nice about Game of Thrones, but I feel like that would be nice.
Yes.
Like, yeah, Sam's telling the story. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Who is Azor Ahai?
It's the chosen one for Game of Thrones. Do you think it's the Hound? Do you think it's Jon? Do you think it's Daenerys? Do you think it's Tyrion Lannister? Do you think it was Stannis the whole time? Probably not.
That would be a really depressing twist. At the point we are in the show, I feel like we've built so much on top of this Jon and Daenerys thing. Like, it would be kind of an odd thing to do to just left turn and be like, it's the Hound, but I do think it would be neat.
I think it's Jon. I think sudden gear shift, it's the Hound. That's a little too Neville Longbottom for me. Does Jaime kill Cersei? The answer is
I feel like, yeah.
yes. Yeah, I think that happens.
Like
That's my feeling.
You want Tyrion to do it, I guess, but like, I don't know, just like every time Jaime and Cersei have a scene together, I feel like we linger on Jaime for just a few extra seconds to watch the reality sink just a little deeper into his face.
Yeah, that theory is pretty obvious, honestly. Like, I do think Cersei is a mad queen, and I do think Jaime will kill Cersei.
So when Bran makes contact with the Night King, does that just break the enchantment of the wall? Can the Night King set foot inside?
I feel like the walkers eventually cross the wall. They have to, because that's what's gonna happen.
Is
Idiots.
it Bran's fault?
Who cares? They're gonna come. The end. Next.
The end.
Is Bran the Builder Bran the Builder?
Ow, that one kind of bent my mind a little bit in a way that I didn't love as much.
No, it didn't bend my mind at all. It made me kind of angry. Because, number one, that means Bran has no reason to be named Bran. Bran could be named Poobah. It could be Poobah the Builder. Like, it just, like, who's Bran named after if it's himself? Is he just in a perpetual time loop where he's just keeps being named after somebody named Bran? Where did Bran come from? Where, at what point did... That's stupid.
Yeah, that's one of those timeline theory things that just starts to make my head hurt after a while. I'm like, okay, how did you get to the first time having to do that, being named Bran? And then if you found a way back in time, like, how did you make sure that your folks named you that? Like, ugh.
And also, Bran can time travel and he can warg. So Bran could be anybody. Bran could have warged into Littlefinger forever ago.
This plot line specifically is the reason I feel like I need to rewatch the show at some point. I don't love that theory so much.
Do the walkers win?
I don't think it'll be that bleak.
No, George R.R. Martin said that the ending would be bittersweet. That would be just bitter.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Next one, Jon, Daenerys, and Tyrion, all Targaryens? I think Jon is.
Well, Jon, that was revealed
That's
recently.
pretty,
yeah.
that's confirmed.
They slipped that detail into the point where people got, like, upset that we didn't, like, flip visibly when that piece of information came out. But yeah, Tyrion's been looking blonder lately, but that's about the only clue towards that.
I don't think he is. They're saying that Tywin hates him, and it's like, no, Tywin could also hate him because Tyrion was a dwarf, and Tyrion killed his wife when he was born.
Yeah,
So,
I kind of agree with you.
I think the Targaryen might be someone else, but I'm not sure it's Tyrion.
Tyrion, I just feel like that would be too convenient at that point. It's like, here are 3 of the show's most central and popular characters who have gone through such change over time, and they're all gonna, like, one is a Targaryen now, one is Twist Targaryen, and to have another Twist Targaryen and have that be one of your favorite characters, like, seems like a tall order. I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but I don't associate Game of Thrones with that level of, like, fan service almost.
Yeah,
But
I want the Hound to be the last Targaryen.
that would be cool. I think
He's
that would
like,
be
he's
really
not
cool.
actually related to the Mountain. Only half related to him, and he's like got some good in him.
I mean, that seems to come out here and there through his character, especially in the arc he's been going through.
That'd be alright.
That's
I'm okay with
despicable.
him being a Targaryen. I'm not okay with him being a Azor Ahai. That's a little bit ish. White Walkers and Stonemen, are they related, or are zombies just popular and nobody cares? And let's throw in more zombies so that we can get some of the people who watch The Walking Dead.
I think that's a cool theory.
Cool theory.
The whole idea that, you know, like, it's a similar type of enchantment, and it just depends on whether you were dead or alive when you came down with it. And that could be one of those, you know, epic...
That part is interesting.
They love to stack those odds up, especially heading towards the end of seasons when battles are about to break out. And
That's
you
true.
know that nothing would be more gut-wrenching than noticing that the White Walkers also have some friends showing up, you know?
Yeah.
I get you on the zombie part, but at the same time, hey, I think it's a cool theory. I'm down.
There is also the Dragon Glass and Valyrian Steel
Ah.
argument, but there are 2
Yeah.
things in the Game of Thrones universe that destroy everything and make everything better, and that's Valyrian Steel and Dragon Glass. So, like, I mean, you can point to anything and you'll eventually get to Valyrian Steel and Dragon Glass.
I want a sword made of Valyrian steel coated in dragon glass.
Yeah, that's
what I want.
like every magical thing in Game of Thrones except for Wildfire. Next.
Milk of the poppy! Nobody wants milk of the poppy.
I don't want any dream wine!
I want one scene where someone's just like, oh, thank you. Please, I needed this.
Jon becomes the Night King at the end.
Ooh.
I could see it.
I could see it, especially the way they spun it in this video, that sort of like ultimate sacrifice, the way to protect Westeros is just to lead the army of the night that way.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
and
the
that
similarities...
would make him kind of an Azor Ahai, sort of a chosen one who saves everybody.
in an unpredictable way,
I'd be
at
very,
great
very
cost.
sad.
I
This
would
is
be
me.
very
This is
sad.
my tear, a single tear coming down my cheek. I could see it happening, that one.
I'm not counting too much on any happy endings for anybody in this show. Like they said, if we're going for a bittersweet ending, I feel like that's pretty bittersweet.
Yes.
You know? You just want stuff to work out for Jon. Jon reminds me of Ned, and Ned was like, watching all of season 1, I was like, oh yeah, this guy knows he's gonna die. Like, this guy knows he's just too just for this world. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like with Jon, it's one of those, like, no good deed goes unpunished, and even if you are the chosen one, and even if you can save the realm, it's gonna come at a cost
Jon?
for you. Yeah.
Are you the chosen one?
Yep. I know nothing.
You know nothing, John Humphrey.
That's right. That's what they tell me in the comment box. Every video.
What are you talking about? You don't know anything. That's my impression of
Of the internet.
the internet.
Well, thanks for checking out this video, guys. What do you think? Which theories did you agree with? Which ones do you think are nonsense? Hit up that comment box.
And which Game of Thrones name is the most bullshit?
Yeah, hey, throw that in there
throw
for
that in.
You can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell to get updated every time a review or a video is out. Check out Rachel Jackson on the internet.
Check out Angry Max Fury Street.
YouTube.
It's gonna be right here.
I'm gonna put all the different links in the box.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem. You can come check us out on Patreon. We got tons of exclusives and goodies over there. Come join our community, have a good time. We also got t-shirts available on Spreadshirt. Thank you for checking this video out. Peace!